On this week's episode of the Dudes and Dads podcast, we talk with our friend Ryan Duckworth about his accident. Welcome back, Joel.
Oh, Andrew, hello.
Hey. This summer, where is it gone? Hey,
Mid-July already.
I've got a question for you.
Oh, boy.
So we talked a couple episodes ago about the summer of the 90s.
Yes,
90s
summer.
How's
Yes.
that going for you and your family?
I'm so glad you asked. So here's what I will say. And this is important, I should say, for listeners. Just had an opportunity to be a seminar speaker at Ivana's national conference at Malone University, and did mention 90s summer to the people that I was talking to, parents and youth alike. And the question is, how's it going? Have your kids rebelled against it? Have they threatened to never speak to you again? All that good stuff. For those of you that don't know, 90s summer, this is what this is all about. Is my children this summer have access to technology that was only available in the 1990s. That's the rule in general, and it's gone well.
Good.
I would say everyone's relating to each other well. We're seeing more bike rides, more trips to the park. We're seeing more like family movie night, or just watch, because TV was available in the 90s for those of you that are.
But you made them get up and click the. Oh
Yeah,
no,
that's
there
right.
was remotes.
They use the remotes. But yeah, it's going well. They, as a reward for, because on top of this there was also like household chores and things like this. So as a reward, they did get a little bit of gaming time.
All right.
And then they did a little bit of that, and then right now they're apart from Aaron and I, everybody's up in the UP. I would say doing more than 90s summer, because they are at a rustic campsite.
So they have nothing.
So they're right on the verge of Canada, which is, I mean, it's basically like the Dark Ages. So really,
Sorry to all of our Canadian listeners.
Canadian listeners, that's
that Joel
terrible.
just offended.
It's terrible, and I know you'll be kind about it, but that's a bad joke. But yeah, so. I think it's been good, and I feel like taking, for any of us, taking a break from the tech, putting some disciplines in there, would be really, really good. So anyway, that's how that's going.
Awesome.
How about you? We're gearing up for up for fair.
We are gearing up for fair.
Are all your animals doing well?
They are.
Good.
Not walking super great, but
okay.
We'll see what happens when it gets to the fair.
We will indeed see what happens. I feel like every year it's there's the ups and downs, right, Andy?
Right.
Yeah. So we'll see how it goes.
I'm excited about that, because fair is always a special time for us. It's the time where we get to spend time together, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a lot of time together as a family.
Yes.
And I just really enjoy that. So
yes, I too enjoy the fair, but in appropriate doses at appropriate times, and even more so. When the sun is either very low on the horizon, when the sun is low on the horizon, either rising or setting.
That's where you're
when it's not cooking.
best at.
Cooking midday.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. So, well, Andy, obviously, yet another Dudes and Dads podcast episode is made possible by we've got so much support out there, and some people have said, not only do we just want to cheer you on from a distance, no, we want to become sponsors. And one of those sponsors is the good people over at Avad Chiropractic and Wellness. They want to know, hey, are you in pain? And is any sort of tension holding you back? Avad Chiropractic and Wellness in Goshen, they can help people feel better, move better, and live better. Whether you're an athlete recovering from an injury or just tired of daily aches, our expert chiropractic care and therapeutic massage, let's not forget the massage, Andy, can get you back to doing what you love. They specialize in advanced techniques like chiropractic adjustments, deep tissue and relaxation massage, compression therapy, and more to target the root cause of your discomfort, not just the symptoms. Don't settle for just getting by. Experience real relief. Book your appointment today at Avad Chiropractic. That's AVADCHIROPRACTIC. That is avadchiropractic.com. And click the schedule button below, or call 574-312-0402. That's 574-312-0402. Avad Chiropractic and Wellness, because your body deserves the best. Your body specifically, Andy.
Thank you.
Deserves the
and
best.
thank you, Vod.
Thank you, Yvonne. Appreciate you guys.
Well, today we wanted to talk with our friend Ryan. And Ryan, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, Ryan Duckworth. Just for listeners, I feel like I always have to give this context. So, number one, not that this is a comparison game. Ryan's sister has already been on the show.
She has
a few years back. Did you pull the? Do you know the data? How long?
I don't, but if you keep talking, I'll find it.
We'll say it's been a couple years. A couple years ago.
Sure.
Right?
I think it was 2022 or
2022, 2023.
22, I think.
22, so maybe 3 years ago.
Yeah.
We'll find out in just a second.
Okay, well, I'm
never
excited.
mind.
So-
I can't find it.
So Megan on the show sharing with us at the time her recent it was out of a college class
June 6th of 2022.
of 2022.
I couldn't find it because I was looking for Duckworth, not Sponsor.
Yeah, not Sponsor. Yeah, that'll throw you for a loop. So really we're getting the full family treatment here. We're really closing the loop. And so Ryan, good to have you here. Ryan, your story that we're going to get into, I think, is as I was saying before we were recording, is super unique. Wow, what an ordeal. And we want to acknowledge all of that. And I also want to acknowledge just my weird, call it what you will. It's a little bit of a scientific, I'm just very curious.
Sure.
I'm just very curious about the whole thing because the nature of the injuries that you sustained and what all happened are kind of unique. It's not super common. Thankfully, it's not super common.
Yes.
But I'm just very interested in the whole thing and as you've been on this recovery process and everything, as you're now looking at almost a year ago of this happening. Before we dive into that, though, let's know more about you. We like to talk about the dad stats. So you get to talk about everything that you want to put out there on the internet about yourself, your how old you are, where you're from, who you're married to. You got a kiddo, all that good stuff. We want to know the dad stats. So
Sure.
Fire away with that.
Yeah, so I grew up here in Goshen area. I was attended Clinton Frame for my whole life up until I was about in college, and then I went to Grace. Was able to be there for 4 great years, and then transitioned back, and just didn't feel like it was quite the right place for me. So, but love being back, love seeing people.
And you studied what while you were down at
I
Grace
studied
College?
environmental science.
Yes.
So yes, I did 4 years of that.
Big fan of the outdoors, nature, all that stuff.
Big fan of fishing, especially. Dabble a little bit in hunting every once in a while, but just love being on the water.
Yep.
So yeah, so I'm 28 years old. My wife Kaylee and I got married just over 2 years ago. We just celebrated our 2nd anniversary June 30th.
Congratulations.
Yes. And then we just welcomed our firstborn son into the world on May 10th. So
yes,
pretty exciting.
So fresh dad. You're
Yes,
fresh.
very
dad.
fresh. Yes,
fresh. How's the sleeping going?
He is sleeping great. Right
That's
now.
fantastic.
That's
That's what
awesome.
every parent. I feel like it's what every parent wants to know. Like you're just hopeful for is it going okay, or are you barely conscious at any given point?
Yes, the nighttime sleep is great.
That's awesome.
We put him down to bed at about 7:30, and we wake him up at 7.
Bless.
Awesome.
So
Wow.
yes, for a
That's awesome.
9-week-old, we are doing great.
I just feel like
we
we
feel
made-
very blessed.
I feel like you saying that out loud is maybe just jinx this.
Yeah,
'Cause
hopefully
I'm
not.
now-
I hope
I'm
not.
I'm very nervous now that it going that well. That's so awesome.
Yep.
That's really, really awesome. And I think so that in of itself, those experiences, marriage, having your first kid. I mean, for all of us, like that is that's a lot. That's enough, like
Yes.
to be navigating. But as we mentioned before, on top of that, a year ago, you had what we will call a life-changing event. So I would just love for you to like set the stage for us, like what you were, because this was job related. This is
Sure,
on the
yes.
job.
Yep.
So what you were doing, what you're doing for a living, why you were doing that, and then how you found yourself in this situation, and just walk us through the whole process. And then I'm just going to, as I can, ask my questions along the way to because I've got a lot of curiosity, as I've said.
Yeah.
A lot of
Yeah.
curiosity about this. So yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so I work for Dogwood Hills Tree Farm. It's based out of Middlebury. Started there about 5 years ago. Right as COVID started ramping up, you started hearing about people closing down. I started working there. Previously, I was working at the DNR doing fisheries research. Loved it, but just didn't have the right right places to move up in the into positions there. So I started with Dogwood, and great company. I've learned a lot from them. I was leading crews pretty much every day for probably 4 years or so.
Yeah.
But September 10th, I was trimming a tree, and I had one of my coworkers along there with me, and was up on a lift about 20 feet in the air, and I was electrocuted with 7,100 volts of electricity.
Yeah.
Wow.
So if most people who get hit with that don't make it.
Yeah.
To put it in perspective, the electric chair is 2,100 volts.
Oh man.
Oh,
So
jeez.
I got hit with 3.5 times an electric chair
So
twice.
So point being, electric chair obviously is intended to be fatal.
Yes.
And you are multiple times that
Yes.
receiving that sort of voltage. And you said twice.
Yes.
So
I hit the line twice. So
you're up in the air.
Mhm.
You're trimming a tree. Do you directly hit the line, or does the
my trimmer that I was using directly hit the line.
Okay.
And I was holding it in my right hand.
Gotcha.
So that's how it entered my body, and it jumped around to my chest, and then up my left arm, and then it came out my back. The electricity did. It grounded out my back because it shot me back into the cage I was in, and then went down to the ground. So
Wow. So electricity is one of these weird things where, like, there's not really a predictable, like, it seeks a ground, right?
yes, it's seeking a ground. It wants to
Yeah.
find a way to get down to the ground, and so yeah, I was very fortunate that it left throughout my back because it then didn't go down through my feet.
Okay. Yeah.
That a lot of people often lose limbs
Oh, wow.
from voltage that high, and so
Yeah.
I feel very lucky that it didn't go down and hit
Yeah.
anything on my
Mhm.
legs or anything like that. So
What happens to your body physically with that kind of voltage going through your body?
So yeah, when it happened, I remember everything up to when it happened.
Okay.
And then after that, I really don't remember anything at all until about 36 hours later.
Wow.
I woke
Wow.
up in the hospital, but they said at the scene I was moving around a little bit, a lot of pain I was in, but I was able to communicate birth date and stuff like that. So that in itself was truly a miracle.
Yeah.
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 No kidding.
But yeah, the recovery was, I mean, I spent 37 days in a hospital in the
Mhm.
ICU unit.
Mhm.
So it was quite a quite a journey through that. I was not really able to get up out of bed for a little while there
Yeah.
because I was all wrapped up with.
So what are
Just-
what are your
Yeah.
injuries? Like
So,
what has happened?
So I have had burns to my hand, both hands, both arms, and then in my chest on the left side, it is pretty much sunken down to my rib cage.
Oh, wow.
So, and then out the back, I had quite a bit of muscle loss out the
Okay,
back too.
gotcha.
There's 2 spots there that they described it at the scene as holes.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Wow. So I mean, electricity is essentially burning through your body. I mean, that's
Yep,
what's happening.
and that's what's causing the
my
damage.
gosh.
So
So yeah, go ahead.
You
Andy.
mentioned at the scene. Were you alone at the scene? Did you have
I had a
other
coworker at
coworkers?
the scene,
Okay.
so he was able to help get me down, get the paramedics called, and so they rushed me onto an ambulance, drove me a little ways away. I think it's like a mile. Got on a helicopter. I flew to Fort Wayne. I was stable enough there that they ended up sending me down to the Eskenazi burn unit in
Okay.
Indianapolis. So
Yeah.
it's that place is a great place for people with burns. It's top 2 in the nation for
Wow.
burns. So
Really
feel-
fortunate to be
feel
so close.
very blessed to be able to see the doctors I was able to see there. So
That's awesome.
Yeah. And so did you, I mean, you remember, probably you have a memory up to the point of when you got
Yes.
electrocuted specifically.
Yep.
Was there an oh crap moment just before, or were you completely
No.
unaware that you had
completely unaware.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I went from trimming a tree. My coworker was asked, he was going to run and get smoothies. He was like,
Yeah.
"Hey, what smoothie do you want?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "All right, I'll take a strawberry mango smoothie." I was like, "I'm going to get down. I got 2 more cuts up here to make. I'm going
Mhm.
to get down and move to the other side of the tree."
Mm-hmm.
And we had said before, like we had acknowledged the lines were there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so there was just he's like, hey, if anything happens, I'm giving you chest compressions. Like we talked over stuff of like what would be doing in worst case scenario.
Yeah.
So we had a lot of awareness of that. Kind of weirdly, a week before, he had gotten stuck up in a lift, and we had to manually pump him down.
Okay. Yeah.
One of the wires came undone. So when this happened, he was able to get up to me and then tell the first responders how to manually pump us down. It's so fresh in his mind. It was such a God thing there. Because we had no clue how to get him down at the previous week.
I mean, it'd be a real stupid problem to have. Here you are electrocuted up in a boom, and you're basically trapped in a bucket.
Yes, it's definitely not. When he got up to me, I wasn't breathing. I was kind of foaming at the mouth a little bit. So he went into it, and it's nice. He has background of being around first responders and stuff. So it was great to have him at the scene to be able to tell some people on the ground, hey, make sure you're calling 911. I'm going to try to get him back to breathing and stuff. So very nice to have him.
It sounds like a whole God thing, having him there, knowing that stuff, having the fact that you guys just got figured out a week before how to get it down.
Yes.
Like that's
it was totally a God thing. So I ended up in the burn unit down in Indy, and first thing I remember is kind of waking up, and I couldn't really open my eyes. So I didn't know where I was, and I couldn't talk because I had the tubes down my throat.
Okay,
so I woke up once, fell back to sleep, woke up again, and I was freezing cold. And I could tell I didn't have socks on, so I was just like moaned out. And there's a nurse right beside me, and she's like, "What do you need?" And I was like, I just put my feet up in the air and started shaking them a little bit. She's like, "Oh, your feet are cold?" I was like, "Yep, my feet are freezing." That's what I'm thinking. And so she put socks on, and next thing I knew, I was out again. And then my wife Kaylee came into the room, and I was awake, able to open my eyes, and so she was able to tell me what had happened and stuff. So
as you mentioned, Kaylee, now this is a spouse's worst fear.
Yes.
To be called. We have a coworker, Andy and I do, and I was pastoring at the church at the time where she got a notification that her husband, like the iPhone, like, hey, you think your husband's been in an accident because their iPhone is, and drove to the scene and sees him being extracted from a vehicle, and that whole experience. I think a spouse getting that call and saying that this person, in your guys' case, who you've really just begun your life together, right? You're
fresh married, pretty much.
And it's like it's difficult enough going into that, but also difficult going into that where you're in a stage of your relationship where things are still building, you're still growing, you're kind of you haven't gone through too many things together yet.
Yes.
Let alone this is now introduced to her where it's like, your husband is kind of hanging in the balance here a little bit.
Yeah, she didn't really know what was going on, and 2 weeks before we found out we were expecting.
Jeez Louise.
Wow.
So I
mean,
a
lot of pressure on her. Yeah.
It's like she was working with her mom, and everyone kind of gathered around and started praying, and then they scattered out. She's like, "Mom, we got to pray because we're expecting." And
oh, jeez.
It's just not the way we wanted to tell family that we were expecting. And she told my parents in a Culver's parking lot, like, "Hey, we're expecting." As they're driving down to try to figure out what's going on, because on their way down, she was trying to contact the hospital to get any sort of information, and they wouldn't give her just because of HIPAA. Which it makes sense, but at the time, it's like
it's super frustrating.
She knew that I was in surgery, but didn't know what for. And so, that first initial surgery, what they had to do was actually take and open up my arms, up the length of my arms, forearms, because it would, with electrocutions and burns, your flesh expands. Yeah. And so if it expands too much, it cuts off the blood flow.
Okay.
So I would have ended up losing my arms if I didn't have that surgery. So that was definitely like just a crazy time getting there. And then on top of that, once I woke up, they were they were pretty sure we were gonna amputate my right hand. So
Okay. Yeah.
we were pretty convinced, and it didn't bother me too much just because I knew that it was a miracle
You
that
were
I
alive.
made it
I'll say you
through.
were alive. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I was like, if that's what they have to do, like
Right.
take my hand. I'm
Mhm.
here. I get to spend my life with my wife.
Right.
Get to see my son
Yeah.
grow up, and
Yeah.
I'm like that's the least of my concerns right
Yeah.
now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. So, I partly I just wonder, like, did this more of my questions, like your heart,
Mhm.
like, did this affect, because I as when I think about like massive electrocution, I just think that, like, okay, there's a whole electrical system within
Already in your
yeah,
body,
in our
right,
body,
yeah.
and you've massively disrupted that, obviously,
Yes.
with with that kind of voltage. Like, any, so I mean, because you've talked about your, like, skin, like, so, like, nervous system, cardiac stuff, like, does that get affected at all?
So none of my organs are affected, like my internal organs, heart, lungs, nothing was affected at
Wow.
all, which in itself is a miracle because
Wow.
that electricity went
Yeah.
right on top of my
Right.
heart, and it's
Mhm.
down to my rib cage.
Yeah.
And then
Out
same
the
spot
back,
on the back,
yeah.
it's down quite
Yeah.
a ways. And
Yeah.
so truly a miracle that is there. I did sustain some nerve damage, especially in my my right arm,
Mhm.
forearm. So the central nerve that runs up the center of your arm was completely destroyed in
Yeah.
the process, along with a lot of other muscle.
Yeah.
That was pretty much it: skin and muscle loss,
Yeah.
and a little bit of nerves.
So what kind of sensation do you have now in the arm?
So right now, I can feel a little bit, especially if I tap on the forearm
Okay.
along the edge.
Yeah.
I can feel like a buzzing and a zapping up in my fingertips.
Mhm.
They've done a reconstruction surgery. I had that done in April,
Okay.
and so that they took that a tendon from my foot, and then also nerves from the backs of my legs,
Wow.
and had to rebuild what's in there, and they connected it to my bicep to
That-
be able to
Oh,
work my
man.
hand. So
That's
my
wild.
hand works in a totally different way than
Sure.
everybody else's. So
Yeah.
I have to think about kind of rocking my wrist back
Sure.
in order to close my fingers.
Interesting.
Gotcha.
But that's amazing that for one, God has given the gift to the surgeons to know how to do that, and your
Yes.
body to heal
Yes.
and accept that. That's totally cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a crazy ever since April 1st, we've seen a lot of improvement in function in my hand.
Cool.
Before
Mhm.
I could barely move my fingers, which that in itself was a miracle.
Yeah.
You have like 10 tendons in your hand. And after my accident, I had one remaining.
Wow.
Jeez.
So
Wow.
I really couldn't do a whole lot with my hand for movement wise. It was a lot of the nerve on the pinky side of the arm, the outer side of the arm, running up and moving it a little bit. That's how it was. They said
Yeah.
it was working. So yeah,
Now, are you normally right-handed?
I am right-handed.
Okay, so have you had to like?
I've learned
Yeah.
how to do a lot of things with my
Wow.
left hand.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
I'm left-handed, so
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely been a learning curve,
I'm sure.
but it's become second nature at this point. And there's some stuff that's still a little bit tricky to do, especially since I don't have a ton of function in my right hand. Even today, we're sitting down eating a steak, and it's like, well, I can't really cut the steak
Mhm.
because I can't
Yeah.
can't put enough pressure with my right hand to use my left hand to
Yeah.
cut.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's definitely a learning curve, but it's a new way of learning how to do things.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
it's a slow process, but we see progress each
Yeah.
week, and so that it does help to see some progress.
So you're in the hospital. You said 37
days in the ICU.
37 days in the ICU. You're released from the ICU. What's the next step after that?
So while I was in the ICU, I had 7 surgeries, and a lot of that was to debrief any of the muscle and dead tissue.
Mhm.
And then I also had some skin grafting, which they basically take skin off of your legs
Mhm.
and then put it other places on your body.
Yep.
So after that, after I got out, I had to go back and do another skin grafting session. And then there was quite a while of just waiting to see what they could do before they did the reconstruction surgery. So I got out in October, and then I didn't have my reconstruction reconstruction surgery till April 1st. So there was a while there where there was just a lot of waiting and healing and letting your body just have a rest, because 8 surgeries in just a little over 40 days is quite a bit.
Yeah,
so
that's a lot.
They were like, we just need to let your body rest and recoup and see what all's viable to use in this next stage. But I also had another smaller surgery in February. It's called laser therapy. So what they do is they take lasers and burn little holes in your skin. It kind of looks like a pixelated screen on your skin. And it's just a bunch of those all over my burns. And it's supposed to help break up some of the collagen in the skin to make it not so rough and rigid, and smooth out any of the blood vessels, break them down to make the skin look a little bit more normal. So that I had in February. So that was pretty much the only thing I had in between. But I was still going to therapy. I would go to therapy at least twice a week. So it's still
now therapy. Do you do that up here? Do you do that in Indy?
So I'd have to usually go down once a month to Indy. But I would still have twice a week up home here in Goshen or Middlebury, either one of the places. But when I first was released from the hospital, there was quite a few times where it was like every other week I was going down. I think I counted up the other day, and I think it's well over 20 trips down to Indy since October. So
my kids have been in the hospital at Riley quite a bit, which is close to
it's right
there.
across the street.
So I know right where you're. Well, and we actually came and visited your parents and stuff in the hospital when you were down there. So I know exactly right where you were at. Yeah, it's a trip.
It is a little trip. Yeah, it's I know it like the back of my hand right now.
That's true. You do. Yeah.
Yep.
So I think back to, and I remember when I got the phone call after your accident, and so many people here within this community. I mean, obviously, these are the times when you know this to be true in your brain, but when you actually see it, the number of people that are connected to you, that care about you, that are praying for you. What's that like? What was your kind of community experience? Because I'm willing to bet it was intense.
It was pretty crazy. So soon after the accident happened, it was kind of sent out to, hey, just pray for Ryan and his family. And it was crazy because I had people all over the world praying for me. And I forget, there was a pastor in Florida who got together with people throughout the rest of the world, and they would go and pray every Wednesday or something. And I mean, I'd hear a lot of the government officials in Elkhart County had me on their mind and stuff. So, I mean, that was just mind blowing. We had been out in Washington, D.C. just 2 days before the accident to visit my friend out there, and he had people out there praying for me. So the support was just overwhelming. To just know how many people had just had me on their minds and were praying for me and stuff. So it was truly phenomenal. And once we got back, they had a little welcome home get together for me for just say hi in the driveway and be on the way. Because when I got home, I was pretty pale. Didn't have a lot of stamina. Still don't have a ton of stamina, but definitely I was pretty weak at that point. So if I remember, there was a GoFundMe at one point as well that just was amazing. Again, I mean, amazing to watch the generosity there. Yeah, truly amazing to see the generosity of so many people, and a lot of people that I don't even know. So it's crazy. And even going around now, I'll go around to garage sales or something, and I'll walk up and be like, "Oh, what happened to your arm?" And I'm like, I got electrocuted. They'd be like, "I've been praying for you."
Yeah, you're that guy.
It's crazy to see. My father-in-law and I were garage selling one day, and I bet every other house we went to in Middlebury knew about me or had heard something. So
it's one of those things. I mean, where we kind of know these things to be true, that we have a community of people that care about us, support us, or whatever. But when something like this happens, that's just so staggering. It's a really powerful reminder. And I think for people that have a connection to that kind of community, that kind of support, people, friends, family, Yeah, you wouldn't trade it. You wouldn't trade it for the world, especially when you need it.
Yeah.
In those times. So, talk to me about, okay, you and your wife as a married couple now on this road to recovery. What has this changed? Like, because you guys were early in your relationship, but
Mm-hmm.
what has come out of this? I mean, what do you notice now with the fact that, like, I'm just wondering,
Mm-hmm.
you as the husband, you want to be the provider. There's things that you I'm sure want to be contributing to the relationship, and really early on you are kind of just taken out of the game there.
Yes.
For a while. How have you navigated that? What does that look like?
It's been tough, but I've just she's stepped up so much.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
she's out mowing the yard, doing stuff like that I normally would try to help and do. I try to help. The mindset I have is I try to help as much as I can around the house, whether that's laundry, putting the dishes in the dishwasher, stuff like that. And we work together at doing stuff, and but she has taken a big step up to do that, and she's starting to go back to work a little bit, which probably wasn't in our plans for her to go back once she had our first child. And so there's been a little bit of like, well, we're gonna see how that works with that, but it's just nice having I mean, I'm getting paid through workman's comp and stuff, which is nice, but just to have someone who's bringing in a little bit, and she's only working part-time right now, so it's not bad at all. But yeah, she has definitely stepped up a lot, and I so super glad I have her by my side.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's been, and honestly, all family, in-laws, everybody has really stepped up to, if we need something done, they're over helping us out. Stuff around the house that I can't do anymore, hauling couches or something like that. So
hard to accept that help ever?
it is a little bit. It can be hard at times, but I am also very grateful for it because I just can't do some of the stuff that I would want to do.
Yeah.
So a lot of that stuff we ask for help is stuff that is just physically impossible for me to do. So yeah, it's definitely, it tests you a little bit, but you just gotta accept that there's people here that want to help you, and just welcome it with open arms whenever they offer. So
what would you say you've learned about yourself in this process? Like what comes to the surface when you think about that?
I guess for me, it's probably just continuing to learn patience. That's been the biggest thing through all this, is just trying to be patient with the process, but also trying to not get frustrated with not being able to heal as fast as I want to be able to. And so that's really been one of the things that's tested my patience a little bit, but I've been really working on it and just being okay with where I'm at in life.
Yeah.
Because this definitely wasn't where I necessarily saw myself being. So
what has this done with your relationship with God?
I mean, there's days that it's really hard. But you also think of all the little miracles throughout it, and you say, I know there is a God. Like, there's so many miracles that I can't even get into with just some of the details of some of the stuff, but you truly see God's hand in all of it. Like, it is very evident, even with the fact that none of my internal organs were injured. None of the doctors had any explanation for it, and you just say it's a miracle. Like, it truly is a miracle that I made it through it. I didn't lose any limbs, and I'm still mentally the person I was before, because I've heard of many people who have major injuries that don't come back the same person they were.
Yeah.
And that truly, I'm so grateful for that.
I mean, I would just imagine, again, with that kind of, like, I mean, again, we have all these electrical signals in this whole electrical system, neurological system within us, and it is pretty amazing, like, that would that wouldn't be affected to a great deal in this case, especially. I mean, like you just said, you received 2 lethal doses of electricity,
Yeah.
Voltage going through your body. Um, that is a miracle. It's absolutely amazing. And it could have ended up, oh my gosh. I mean, and I'm sure you've thought about this. It could have ended up very, very
Yes,
different.
It could have ended up very different, but you just focus on how good God is
Yep.
to allow me to continue to be here, to be with my wife and family. So yeah.
What's your next personal goal? What's the next thing you're hoping to achieve?
I mean, I continuing to work on my grasp and just function of the hand.
Yep.
It will never be what it was. But trying to figure out how to do some of the more daily things in life with it. I'm starting to pick up a ball, throw it a little bit, being able to pick up some coins off a towel. That's one of the things we work on in therapy.
Yep.
Just trying to learn how to do some of that stuff, and just getting back out and being outside.
Yep.
That's one of the harder things right now. Is I have compression garments that I'm wearing, and they get very hot when I'm outside, and I have to be pretty careful with how much sun exposure I have, because the skin is very, very delicate at this point. So if I'm out in the sun for a prolonged time, it's long sleeves, stuff like that. So I'm really looking forward to just being able to be outside, because I grew up loving the outdoors. Just always was outside doing something, sports, fishing. So fishing is a really thing I'm looking forward to get back into at some point. But there's still a little bit of a journey yet to that point. But yeah.
What is and again, you're in this journey, but it's like, what does even like a future profession look like for you? Like, how have you thought about that?
Yeah. So thankfully my boss he's told me from the beginning, he's like, whether you have one arm or 2 arms or no arms, like, you are going to always have an option to work here. Like, and it's truly, the company has been so great. Guys are truly family.
Awesome.
We start every day out with devotions in the morning before we even start talking about jobs we're going out on and stuff. So that's been good. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to be moving back into some role at the company there, doing something that I physically can. It's a very physically demanding job of what I was doing. So being out in the heat and just a lot of physical manual labor. So it'll be an adjustment going back, trying to figure out something, but I know he has some plan for me to get back into it. So
that's really gracious and kind. And I think, one more example of the community of people you've surrounded yourself with. And that's, I mean, it's just such a gift. And, I wonder, for you, thinking about healing, thinking about just the future, like, do you feel like there are places that you have to share this story elsewhere? Or maybe there've been opportunities already as you?
So I've shared a little bit my story up in Michigan at my grandpa's church.
Cool.
They did they called a wild game supper, and they usually honor someone in the community who is into the outdoors and stuff. And so he was actually honored this February, and so I was able to speak at that and tell a little bit my story there.
Remind me what part of Michigan?
So he lives in Fairview, Michigan.
Yes. Good old Fairview.
A lot of people.
All of our upper Michigan people. We love you. The air is cleaner up there, although maybe not right now because of the Canadian fires. Jackie and the kids are up on Whitefish Bay right now, and it's a little hazy up there. But yes, the great my great Michiganders. That's wonderful.
Yeah. So I know I have other places that I'll be sharing my story at some point, but it's just getting the right timing for those ones.
Yeah. And even then, but again, an opportunity to take something that's been so challenging and so difficult, and to really, I mean, it's the story of healing, of coming back from something like that, the fact that you are here to talk about it and to tell about it.
Yeah.
That's going to be I just know that'll be a blessing to a lot of people, and it's always good for all of us. I mean, just to gain perspective on what could be for any of us, that life is incredibly fragile, that we're kind of only just pretending to be safe and secure at any given time, whether we're driving a car or trimming a tree or whatever it is. And it's just a good reminder that I mean, we don't know what tomorrow holds. You were having a normal day.
Yes.
You were about to get a smoothie.
Yep.
I was going to get a
just
smoothie
about,
before that.
So yeah, it's truly been a great way to share the gospel with people. Someone asked me such a simple question of, hey, what happened to your arms and stuff? So a lot of people who I see in therapy will be like, wow, that is just crazy to hear the story that you've gone through. And it's been pretty awesome to be able to share, even though it's not what I wanted to share, not the story I ever wanted, but it's the story I have. So
but those are the things that God can work through and use, the stories that we don't wish we didn't have, but we do. But now the question is, did you ever get the Slurpee?
I did not. I did not. No.
Okay.
But I did. Well. I did get a couple when I was in the hospital. Like, they sounded so good. Yeah. And so my brother's-in-law would drive from like 40 minutes to get me him. So
that's awesome.
Attaboy. Nicely done. Well, we'll have to keep that. We'll have to keep that in mind. We'll start the official Ryan Duckworth smoothie fund. Make sure you. Well, where were you getting smoothies from? That's what I
don't know where he was gonna get them from that day.
Where were you guys at?
Syracuse.
You were in Syracuse.
So it was some probably mom and pop place.
Syracuse listeners, if you know where the best smoothies are, let us know. We need to find this out. We're gonna get to the bottom of this. Well, Ryan, man, thanks for sharing your story.
Absolutely.
That's super awesome. We obviously, though, this is the one catch. We can't let any of our guests go before we put them through the ringer on the following.
And now it's time for the Dudes and Dads Pop Quiz.
Thank you so much.
All right, so the pop quiz, if you've never joined us, is just the time that we pepper you with questions that have nothing to do with the topic.
Okay.
So
it's random,
just to get to know you better.
Random and fun. So, Andy, am I going to go first?
You can go first.
Fantastic. Okay. We'll just do an easy intro. Okay. You're trapped on a desert island. You've got we'll say there's 3 books that you get to have. Now, I'm just gonna assume, because you are a man of a deep and abiding faith, that one of them would be the Bible. We get that naturally. Yep. So here's the deal. You're allowed the Bible and 3 additional books. What are those books going to be?
I would say one of them is a survival book.
Nice. Okay.
That would be there we go. Smart way to do it.
That's good.
Maybe a cookbook.
Cookbook.
That'd be
that's a nice
good
one
to have.
Nice one.
See, I'm not a reader, so
not a reader.
I don't.
I figured maybe you had one great outdoor survival novel or something that you had really.
Hatchet is good.
There we go.
I like Hatchet.
There we go.
That was my favorite book growing up.
It is. It's the best.
Yes.
Aaron brought one of those home the other. I had a copy of Hatchet the other day, and I instantly had all these warm fuzzy feelings about it. All came back to me. Okay, got it.
All right. So, are you a fan of the show Survivor?
I am, yes.
Okay.
Although I haven't watched it in probably about 5 years.
That's okay. So. What's your favorite game from Survivor that they do? Or even what do you think you'd be the best at?
I mean, the puzzles are really fun to watch.
Yeah.
That's probably got to be one of my. I mean, I like the physicality of early in the challenge and then a puzzle at the end. I mean, any of those are really really good.
Well, because if especially if you're completely physically exhausted and you still have to like mentally focus on
try to figure out that.
Yeah. I don't like the ones as much where they're like standing on a pole and they're just holding themselves. I like to see a little bit of physicality.
That's just physical torture.
Who can wear out the last?
Yeah.
I like all this.
That's good.
A lot of the challenge.
Okay. Ryan, this one Andy uses. I hope I'm not stealing it from him.
No, you're good.
He uses this, and I have actually really fallen in love with this question. It's that we call it the sandwich question. There's a sandwich going to be named after you. What is on that sandwich? What's the go-to? What sandwich defines you? That's really what we're asking.
Just like what I would want.
We put on it. Like if we're like, hey, if a restaurant's going to be like, hey, we got a special sandwich known as the Ryan Duckworth. What is that sandwich?
Roast beef, turkey, ham.
Okay.
Good solid base to it.
Nice.
Lettuce, tomato, pickle.
Yes.
A little bit of onion.
Little bit of onion.
Mayo.
Okay.
A little bit of mustard.
A little bit of mustard. The Ryan
Very basic.
The Ryan Duckworth. But you know what? I will say, not everybody goes for the roast beef. So that is
roast beef is
attaboy.
Really good.
Yeah. I like it.
All right. If we open your phone and open to the music app.
Oh, yes.
What albums do I see? Or just top out. Like, what's the top of your playlist?
My Goodness of God's up there. Michael W. Smith is top.
Classic.
I love Michael W. Smith.
Old soul here in the Christian contemporary music.
I love Michael W. Smith. My in-laws actually just got back from Alaskan cruise with Michael W. Smith.
The Michael W. Smith Alaskan cruise.
Yeah. So I was kind of jealous that they got to go on that.
Seems very on brand.
Yeah.
Seems very on brand. My final question is, in a zombie apocalypse scenario, who lasts longer, you or your wife?
Me.
Okay. And why?
I just have more survival skills.
More survival skills.
She's not, I mean, she loves being outside, but she's not as.
But if a zombie is coming after her, she's dead meat.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, well, I think you should work on that. Now that we've acknowledged that this is a challenge, this is a problem.
Yep.
Let's. Does she know how to use a shotgun at least? Because
I have actually never shot guns with her, so I don't know.
Okay, see,
I fished with her. I took her fishing.
Good start on the fishing, but in my experience, necessary shotgun skills when it does come to the zombie apocalypse.
You can't like throw a fish at a zombie.
You cannot. You cannot. You gotta have that. You have the cover.
All right. Last question for me is: tell me your top survival tip.
Ooh.
Like if you're saying, hey, Andy, you should survive outside, and you need to know this.
I mean, teach a man to fish and eat for a lifetime. I mean, that's got to be the top one. Like, you have fish and water, you're good.
All right.
Okay. I like it. Well, Ryan, congratulations. You have successfully completed the Dudes and Dads Pop Quiz and have passed with flying colors. So well done. If there were a certificate we could give you, we would. But there's not.
No, there's not.
That would be funny though if we
should just hand out
handing out certificates for completing it. Awesome, Ryan. Thanks a ton for being with us and hanging out. We love the conversation, and my curiosities have been quenched now, which is really what this show is all about: us being curious and getting answers.
Yeah, absolutely. So thanks for joining us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, hey. Guys, as always, you can head over to dudesanddads.com to the website. It's got merchandise on there.
It does.
Which, you know, we're due for some new merch.
We're due to give away a merch.
That we are.
We will come up with something and give away some merch soon.
We should do that. Dudesanddads.com, previous shows, show notes, all the goodies on that stuff. We'll make it available to you there each and every episode. Dudes and Dads podcast at gmail.com is the email address for all your great ideas.
I'm going to go with the voicemail again because I love it hearing it. 574-501-4467. Again, 574-501-4467.
Call us. Leave a message. It won't wake us up.
Yeah, we want to hear you.
We want to hear your sweet voice. We do. We want to hear it. Well, hey, guys, thanks for hanging out. We appreciate you. And until next time, we wish you grace
and peace.